Hey guys, recently, Assistant Game Director Joe Blackburn put out a post on Bungie.net discussing the rewards in Destiny and some things to come over the next year. I want to review those things and give some thoughts as we head into 2021. We'll talk the content of the article first and then thoughts after for those of you who have already read the article. It is linked in the description if you haven't, and I am going to be paraphrasing a lot of stuff just to keep it moving. How are we making every season the best time to jump back into Destiny, he asks. Infusion caps are the first thing to be mentioned in this article. Infusion caps exist for a few reasons: to limit the amount of stuff that you need to care about at once, to evolve seasonal metas, and to keep things feeling fresh for players over time, from builds to loadouts to figuring out what Bungie should make next. But there were some misses on the Beyond Light launch. The initial loot pool was too small, and it's frustrating seeing other people use guns that aren't available to get in the game anymore. The big commitments Bungie plans on making to resolve this are the following. Each season in Year 4 will grow the overall power ecosystem for weapons. All weapons you can take to the power cap should still be earnable in-game with very few exceptions, and future annual releases will contain more new weapons to collect than Beyond Light or Shadowkeep. With Beyond Light, Bungie rebuilt a lot of their tech from the ground up, which is what enabled such a quick change with that batch of legendary weapons being added back into the game. How do they plan on leveraging their new tech going into the future? Well, Season 13 is only about 2 months away, which in development time is the equivalent of 46 minutes in real time, but here are a couple of things that they've been able to add since receiving the feedback in Beyond Light. They're adding 6 new legendary weapons to the Strike, Crucible, and Gambit playlists, 2 each, and Nightfalls are getting the Palindrome, the Swarm, and Shadow Price, Destiny 1 gun favorites. Grandmaster Nightfalls will grant you adept versions of the Palindrome, Swarm, and Shadow Price. Next, Bungie wants to keep things accessible to new players. You need new players to keep things rolling. In a recent patch, Bungie re-added Season 10 and 11 weapons while removing Season 9 weapons, since Season 9 weapons were set to sunset next season. Bungie wants to make sure that players have a way to earn all power-relevant weapons in the live game while not clogging up rewards with stuff that's going away soon. In Season 13, you'll still be able to get Season 11 and 12 weapons in the World Drop pool, while Season 10 weapons will be earnable in a different way, meaning they'll no longer be in the World Loot pool. The Gunsmith will be a more central figure with regards to that. Bungie wants to make sure that you can continue to get the things you need for more challenging activities, although with some exceptions and with some updates to the game. Holiday event weapons, like from Festival of the Lost or the Dawning, will stay where they are, but Fellwinter's Lie, Whisper of the Worm, and Outbreak Perfected will be added to the exotic kiosk in Season 13. Next, Bungie introduced a chunk of new, pretty good perks into the game recently with Beyond Light, on top of having some solid weapons every season for the past few seasons. But while the quality was there, the quantity is not. To keep things brief, Bungie will be hiring more people for the rewards team. This isn't something we're going to feel in the next month or two, but rather with next year's expansion. Next, armor sunsetting. Not a lot of people like it. Not a lot of people feeling it. Right now, the personality of armor comes from mods, so it feels bad having to regrind armor with the same stats for no reason other than just go grind it. Bungie does not yet have concrete plans on how they plan on resolving this just yet, but they want to get it to a spot where looting armor has some potential benefit or change to the way that you play the game. Finally, just some actually very significant news. Transmog will be coming with Season 14. Here are some work-in-progress screenshots. These are not final. DDoS protection for console players of Destiny 2 will be coming in Season 13. Vault of Glass is returning, no time frame given. Crossplay is coming in 2021, no other details given. Fallen Saber and Devil's Lair are coming with Season 13, I think we knew that already. And Legendary and Master Lost Sectors will be expanded to include Moon Lost Sectors, with 3 new exotic armor pieces to get in Season 13, I assume 1 per class. That's it. That was the post. Let's talk about it. Infusion caps, aka weapon sunsetting. At least weapon sunsetting in this first paragraph. I am still a supporter of the system. I still support weapon sunsetting, but as we spoke about in my Beyond Light First Impressions video, It was a massive shock to the system when Beyond Light launched, as we had 2 years of stuff rotate out for a handful of guns, again, at least right at the launch. We definitely did not have enough stuff to make up for it, although I was not expecting Bungie to replace that much stuff in one expansion. It's just not reasonable. Of course, with the Raid and Season 12 weapons, that did help move things along on top of the engram changes. They did bring up a good point in the article, and that's with regards to Warmind Cell mods. Charged with light mods don't require hyper-specific weapons in order to make them work, whereas Warmind Cell mods need 7th Seraph weapons and Ikelos weapons. Regardless of how much longer they're going to be around, eventually, under this system, they're going to be sunset, which means Bungie needs some form of a long-term plan to keep Warmind Cell mods relevant. Bungie says that Season 10 rewards, aka 7th Seraph stuff, will be earnable through a, quote, more prescriptive source. But I think we need to know what that source is and how long they'll be earnable for before I feel like we have this situation under control. Losing Warmind cells would be devastating, in my opinion, for the game, but I trust that Bungie realizes this and that they're working on something. Fellwinter's Lie, Whisper, and Outbreak being added to the exotic kiosk is great news, as Fellwinter's is a beast in PvP and Whisper and Outbreak have significant PvE strength. No word on Heir Apparent just yet, though, but I am wondering what Bungie plans on doing about exotic catalysts. I haven't spoken much about armor sunsetting, on the other hand, and this is something Bungie is acknowledging as well. Initially, personally, I didn't really care that much. I would eventually grind new armor. I play the raid a lot. It's not really a big deal to me. But for others, it is much more frustrating, and I definitely have formed a much stronger viewpoint than I did a couple of months ago. Your armor is essentially a stat stick. With more and more options to change the way you look, this is even more so the case. And with Transmog coming in Season 14, you can look almost however you want. This removes a lot of the appeal of hunting for armor unless you're going for a very specific looking set of armor. Otherwise, your armor is just a bunch of stats, and the mods are what really dictate your playstyle. What Bungie is trying to do here, at least in my mind, is eventually justify the reason for sunsetting your armor, because at the moment, after more conversations with my community, I'm with you. Armor sunsetting does not really have a point right now. Armor is to be collected and then turned into ornaments for Transmog right now. Set bonuses? Maybe? Going into the future? I don't know. But the justification for armor sunsetting right now does not exist, and with Transmog will exist even less than non-existence until armor itself is more impactful on gameplay. Moving to new and more weapons. Bungie is focused on introducing more weapons into the game. People want more weapons, they're going to try to get you more weapons. They're hiring more people to get players more weapons. Great. No issue. I'm glad they have acknowledged the problem and they've said that they're trying to fix it. Great. It's going to take a while, which I know is something people are very tired of hearing at this point, but it's something, I guess. Perks introduced this season, great. Keep them coming, especially the raid mods. Those are great. Now, I personally haven't seen this comment too much, but I did have this question posed to me. Do you think old loot is better than no loot? And I would say that the answer is definitely yes. I think it is better to have some random legendary Destiny 1 weapons returned to the game to grind out than it is to have nothing at all. This being in response to Bungie bringing back old favorites, Palindrome, Swarm, and Shadow Price into the Nightfall loot tables, on top of also having Adept versions. PvE Adept weapons just seemed like a given at some point, and I do wonder why something like Trials got the Adept weapon system, but it was never really ported over to PvE, I guess until right now. On the topic of more loot though, the issue for me hasn't necessarily been I need more guns to go grind. Because I'm good on guns. I got a vault full of them, and I don't even touch half of them. For me, and I imagine at least some others, the issue is the method in which you grind said weapons. The core playlists need some sort of a facelift. They need renovation, they need innovation, they need evolution, they need insert whatever thesaurus word you want to put there. I really want to see Bungie start to evolve this game over the next year or two. It needs it. Adding more stuff is fine, but things have felt very samey for a while. If we're going to continue having to play core playlists for content, for powerfuls, for seasonal activities, they need to be bolstered. Adding more strikes is fine, even if they're the old ones, but adding stuff is not evolution. It's not progression. It's just more. More stuff's fine up to a point, but eventually that shine wears off. I want to see more unique Crucible modes. Where is Rift? I want to see the Strike playlist get some new features or new ways to grind it. I want to see Gambit, do whatever Gambit should do, but I want to see some changes, man. Finally, some info bombs. Transmog's coming in Season 14, nice to have a date. We already know that it'll pull from collections, which is exactly what needed to happen. Great, looking forward to it. DDoS protection for console players, great. More safety there, can't be mad at that. I don't know who would be. Vault of Glass is coming, we knew that already. No time frame was given. My guess would be Season 14 or 15. I feel like if it was Season 13, they would have said it here. And no, I do not think there will be a world's first event for this. People know how Vault of Glass works already. I don't anticipate Bungie to make major mechanical changes to Vault of Glass at all. I don't think that's what people really want. While I would love it if that were the case, I just don't think they really plan on doing a whole lot. It is a ton of work to make a raid, and if they were completely changing how VOG works, I feel like they would just put that effort into a new raid. Add some champions, sure, maybe some different enemies spawn in at different times, but I believe the core mechanics are probably going to stay the same. Crossplay coming in 2021. That's pretty huge. We knew Bungie wanted it to happen next year, but to come out and declare that it will, that's a big deal. How it'll work and what groups can play together, obviously no intel on that just yet, but hey, great stuff. Old D1 strikes coming back. Again, we knew that was happening. Still cool. Finally, Moon Lost Sectors getting put into rotation. It's cool. The Moon is accessible to everyone regardless of whether or not you own Shadowkeep, although there is a conversation going on there as well, which I will completely derail this conversation with. I've seen some feedback about Shadowkeep and Forsaken and their value proposition. Since loot was sunset from those expansions, the value in purchasing them is now for the campaign, for access to the exotics, access to the raids, and access to Pit of Heresy. Pit of Heresy doesn't give relevant loot, but the drop at the end is a great way to farm for materials. For non-raiders, for the more casual players, I would say that these expansions at full price is going to be a very tough sell. Even for raiders, I can see them being a tough sell. Right now, Steam is having a sale where you can get Forsaken, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, and Season 12 for $52. AKA, if you're a new player, you get the old expansions for free. The sale is until December 15th. I promise I'm not being paid for that. Call me a sellout. I think that's a solid deal. Outside of that deal, though, it's a tough sell. The feeling of not leveling up whatsoever while playing, if you're a new player, can be a bit of a bummer. It just feels bad to play that content, maybe some of the other stuff too, and walk away going into Beyond Light with basically nothing besides exotics. If you're paying $8 per expansion though, maybe you started with Beyond Light and you just want to experience the other stuff, well, there's things in the Eververse store that cost more. If it's full price, wait for a sale. That's all I got on the Bungie Rewards update post thing. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.